Large population and its near 500 million strong labor force creates daunting challenges for job creation and even more so for its female workforce. Research estimates that increasing women's labor force participation could add $700+ billion to India's GDP by 2025. And yet, the female labor force participation rate in India at around 25% is less than half of men's. But can the younger, more agile and disruptive companies lead the change to ensure more women participation? Aakanksha Gulati, the director at PACT, a non-profit venture philanthropy platform, joins us now to take this conversation ahead. Aakanksha, welcome to Startup Street. Now, startups are known to be more agile, more open to change. While we need to look at both the demand and supply side of the gender disparity in the workforce problem, what can be done on the demand side, especially for startups, to ensure a higher female participation?
Yeah, thank you for having me, and happy to share some of the glimmers of hope that we've started seeing. We believe that demand side work is really important to close the triangle, right? There's a lot of work that's done to improve supply of women, education, skilling. There's some policy work that's happened to facilitate women staying in the workforce, from POSH to maternity laws. So demand side is really that third vertex that we feel can really bring it all home. I'll share just a few things. Some of these might sound simple, but we're seeing that startups that are doing these, couple of practices are really making a lot more headway. The first is just setting goals. Having a goal around percentage of women, it kind of shows that, the founder is taking the agenda seriously. It becomes a priority. It starts happening not just at the startup organization level, but across teams. So that's one big, practice that we've seen that's starting to move the needle. The second is then, measuring progress against those goals and starting to share that both internally and externally. And again, we see that, where that becomes a priority, it doesn't just remain an initiative on the side. It really gets deeply ingrained in the startup's DNA. And again, you start seeing progress. The third, which becomes really important, is breaking the problem down, right? So not just saying, look, overall, I want to move from 20% to 40% women, but breaking that down in terms of hiring, retention and promotion, right? Where are the leakages happening? And again, the best practices vary. So at hiring level, we're seeing practices like gender neutral JDs, interviewing equal parts men and women for positions, start moving the needle. In retention, creating avenues for dialogue, simple things like allowing women to come together. So those are, I think, maybe two, three simple practices to kind of start with.
All right. So would you say that these are some of the best practices that legacy companies too can adopt from startups, in this area? Would you want to add anything more?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You have to realize that startups, typically 0 to 10, they're still early, they're nascent. And while we do think it's really important to, make this a part of your DNA from the get-go, more mature companies actually have more resources at their disposal. So I think all of these best practices we feel are highly replicable, and hopefully there's enough kind of room for all organizations, but also that desire that we're starting to see go up to do this. Maybe the last other practice that I'll add is, always also thinking of kind of inverting the pyramid, right? So while there's, leakages at all different levels, sometimes we find just prioritizing senior leadership, really kind of taking care of the women that you do have in the system, and not mentoring. We often hear now that women are over-mentored but under-sponsored. So not just mentoring, but actually sponsoring women, right? Giving them, again, a support system, people who are just looking out for them. But interestingly, we're seeing young people now actually interview employers as much as employers are interviewing them. And young people really do want to see, a more diverse leadership.
Okay.
And so, really kind of prioritizing the leadership as well has downstream impact on gender at all levels.
All right, interesting insights there, Aakanksha. But ACT's Pact for Gender Parity wants to move the needle on gender inclusivity, starting with the Women in India Startup Ecosystem Report 2023. What can we expect from this report? What are some of the key trends that are shaping up?
Yeah, we're very excited. This is kind of the first and perhaps the largest of its kind effort. The first thing we're trying to do is actually just baseline. Data continues to not be very strong in India. There's a WF report that comes out every year that just tells us on aggregate, where we are, but it's not nuanced enough. So the first thing this report aims to do is actually just baseline. We're starting with the startup sector, like you rightly identified, but what is the percentage of women at entry level, mid-level, senior leadership, founder level? Also, what's the percentage of women in blue collar and gig jobs? So first is just putting that stake in the ground. This is our current reality. The second is, a lot of work that's been done, unfortunately, in gender talks a lot about the challenges and where the leakages are happening. We want to invert that. So the second big part of what we're trying to do is actually positive case studies. What are the practices that have worked, so that they can become replicable, like you rightly said, not just for startups, but for the entire corporate and public sector ecosystem at large. So that's the second thing that you'll see. And, the third big thing that we really pride ourselves on is it's really not ACT leading this work at all. It is a collaboration, and we know that none of this will move unless, people are working together. So, even the Wiser report is a collaboration between ACT, the Foundation, McKinsey, as well as, we're hoping to get 300 to 400 startups on board with us in this first report as well.
All right, Aakanksha, we've completely run out of time, but wish you the very best for this report. And many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go anywhere, because coming up next, a sneak peek into logistics startup Porter and its growth plans going forward. Stay tuned for that and more.
ये है शुरुआत तेरी, अब हर जुबान पे होगी बात तेरी। देखिए पहला टाटा वुमेन्स प्रीमियर लीग 4 मार्च से जियो सिनेमा पर बिल्कुल फ्री।
MCX Zinc Mini Futures Contract 1 metric ton, available for trading from Friday, February 17th. Refer to circular on mcxindia.com.
Whenever I had ice cream or cold water, I would experience a sharp shooting sensation, so I just kept ignoring it. Even my hot chai was giving me the same amount of discomfort. My dentist recommended Sensodyne, so now I can be completely carefree and sip my hot cup of tea. It really works.
अरे जिसको देखो दे रहे हैं लोन लोन लोन, और इसको उसको सबको चाहिए लोन लोन लोन। अरे लोन पर लोन, ये कौन सा ऐसे लोन? कभी सही इंटरेस्ट तो बोल,
कई छुपी शर्तों का झोल।
अरे स्टॉप, अब हर सपना होगा पूरा जो तेरा है अधूरा, और IIFL फाइनेंस पे है मेरा भरोसा पूरा। गोल्ड से लेकर बिजनेस, पर्सनल से लेकर होम, हर जरूरत को मिलेगा लोन। IIFL फाइनेंस करता है सीधी बात।
अरे कम ऑन डूड, वी आर गेटिंग लेट फॉर वर्क। इंडसइंड बैंक सेविंग्स अकाउंट पे मिलता है अट्रैक्टिव इंटरेस्ट रेट, यानी हॉलिडे का मूड बन सकता है। दैट्स व्हाई फ्री एयरपोर्ट लाउंज एक्सेस। यहाँ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल भरना कहाँ याद रहेगा, इसीलिए ऑटो पे। एंड इन केस वाइफ का बर्थडे भूल गए तो अकाउंट नंबर याद दिला देगा।
कल उसका बर्थडे है।
बीच में मोटा वॉलेट लेकर मत घूमना। डुओ कार्ड है ना, डेबिट क्रेडिट दोनों। टिप तो सबको मिलेगी, पर वो जो कुछ खास मिलते हैं ना।
रात को आपने मिलने जिम खोला था ना।
इंडसइंड बैंक ATM पे मिलेंगे अपने चॉइस के नोट्स। लौट के आते ही खाना थोड़े ना बनाओगे। सो गेट फूड डिलीवरी एंड ग्रोसरीज पे अप टू 20% डिस्काउंट भी। आपकी हर जरूरत और कन्वीनियंस के बारे में पहले से ही सोच के रखा है, तभी तो कहते हैं सेविंग्स अकाउंट हो तो ऐसा। इंडसइंड बैंक।
अपना कर्तव्य निभाएं, समय पर अपना एडवांस टैक्स जमा कराएं। अपने सम्मान के लिए भी और राष्ट्र निर्माण के लिए भी आपके एडवांस टैक्स से देश का आर्थिक और सामाजिक विकास हो रहा है। महिलाएं अपने सपनों को नया आकाश दे रही हैं। कृषि टेक्नोलॉजी, अस्पताल, सड़कों और पुलों का निर्माण हमारी प्रगति को नई गति दे रहे हैं। आपका कर देश के विकास को सुनिश्चित करता है। अपना एडवांस टैक्स पे एज यू अर्न के आधार पर जमा कराएं। एडवांस टैक्स जमा कराने की आखिरी तारीख 15 मार्च 2023 है। कंपनी, कॉर्पोरेट या वे व्यक्ति जिनकी कर देयता TDS TCS कटने के बाद 10,000 या उससे अधिक है, वो 15 मार्च 2023 तक अपने अग्रिम कर की किश्त अदा करें। प्रत्येक आय करदाता एक राष्ट्र निर्माता।
Suresh.
Yes, brother.
Please take care of it, huh?
Sure, I'll do it.
Really? You're concerned for it even if you're going to the village for just 2 days. But you never think about us this way.
Everything will be fine. My rickshaw union group has taken LIC's group micro-term assurance plan. Papa! Wow! Now no matter what, my family will keep moving forward.
Get LIC's group micro-term assurance plan. Keep your family secure.
देखो 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 नया टीवी देखो aha got the veggies from Chotu's shop. He gives the right rate.
Yes, Papa.
Decided 55-inch TV on this wall.
Oh, super. I'll write out the check tomorrow.
No, you don't. I will with my own money.
Oh, wow. How come?
Look at this advertisement. 30% assured returns on investment. I am also going to invest my money.
So vegetables only from Chotu's shop, but investment advice from anyone? Papa, trusting a stranger's advice is never wise.
But what about the TV?
सोच कर, समझ कर, invest कर, invest कर.
Welcome back to Startup Street. Now today we're going to take you to Porter's office in Mumbai, where my colleague Arundhati Ramanan finds out what it takes to run a logistics business. Take a look.
Moving homes is not only an expensive affair, but it's also a tedious one, and technology today has become an integral part of the relocation and logistics industry. Bengaluru-based Porter does exactly that and more, and allows businesses and individuals to book on-demand vehicles to solve all of their intercity needs. Now, it started in 2014. The company last raised funds in 2021, about 750 crore rupees, and is backed by the likes of Sequoia Capital and Tiger Global, and is now looking to expand into Tier 2 cities as well. I'm right now at one of Porter's offices to understand and discuss their expansion plans, their growth blueprint, and what's next for the company. Well, hi Uttam, we're here at the Porter's office in Bombay, and I see all the vehicles that you have over here. So tell me what's on offer, how does it work, what are all your offerings, what's the journey been like for you?
So I think we started back in 2014, and we were working at JP Morgan, and this is something which was alien to us back then. And we researched about the problem. With each interaction with customers and partners, our conviction grew in the thesis. To us, I think it appealed like a holistic problem where the market opportunity was large. Back then, it was 10 to 12 billion market, which would have doubled by now.
Right.
And to us, one of the other interesting factor about this industry was it was fragmented on both sides. So we thought that a tech solution could actually solve this problem. And there was also social impact associated to this because these are intra-city truckers. I think it took us 3 years to figure out the right product market fit on this. Once we figured that out, we expanded to various categories, which included smaller and larger vehicle form factors. In COVID, we started two-wheeler, house shifting. So I think these are the set of offerings which we have today.
Uttam, talk to us about the journey, the growth journey that you've had so far, and any new offerings in the pipeline?
So I think if you look at last 8-9 years, we have been growing 2x every year. As a DNA of the company, we believe in power of compounding, and I think that's what we have been consistently doing. Just to highlight, this growth has been on back of unit economic correction every year, which has happened. Now, on the future outlook, I think we feel that there are 5 levers of growth. One is category expansion, which means getting the assortment of service right so that the stickiness and the wallet share on the platform for customer improves.
Right.
The second thing is about geography expansion, where you add more serviceable areas, because as a pretty localized business, more serviceable areas would improve the addressable market for us. The third one is improving your customer lifecycle related matrices, your monthly active transacting users, how do you improve your LTV to CAC, in general building moat around customers.
Right.
The fourth one is building an ecosystem for partners, because we feel that partner is key to our marketplace. And last but not the least is one of our core responsibility as a platform is to matchmake, right? To match the right supply with the right demand. If we can do that, keeping user preference at check, I think we would create delight experience, and that would fuel further organic growth.
explain to us a little bit about your business model. How much money do you make per transaction, and what's the road to profitability looking like at this point?
So currently, I think if you look at our mature cities, which is Mumbai and Bangalore, we are already EBITDA positive there.
Right.
I think large part of current investment, the burn which is happening is building densities in newer markets and couple of new initiatives which we are working on and piloting on. We, at the moment, I think we are contribution margin positive. We feel that we would become EBITDA positive or neutral by H2 next year.
We're looking to expand into tier 2 markets as well. So how many cities are you present in? Where are you looking to expand, and what has been the traction like in tier 2 markets?
So I think we started in Mumbai. I think in first year we expanded to 5-6 cities. Then we realized that maybe I think we should focus on product market fit. And then I think again after 2019 we have been expanding. Currently we are present in 18 cities in India.
Right.
The aim is to get to a 35 city mark somewhere around 2025. Yeah. I think our tier 2 markets have shown great tractions. I think the way they have grown in last 18 months have been better than the trajectory of what the metros have shown. So we are pretty upbeat about them.
Can you also talk to us about the average ticket size, and where are you getting most of your traction from?
Category-wise, the average ticket size varies. For house shifting, I think it's north of 5,000.
Right.
For like two-wheeler, it's somewhere around 200. So I think, given that we have a fairly diverse category mix, I think the ticket size varies.
Okay.
In terms of customer segments, I think still 75-80% of our volumes come from SME.
Okay.
Somewhere around 20-15% comes from retail customers like you and me.
Yeah.
And 5% is coming from enterprise.
Do you have any plans of raising funds? What's the outlook looking like going forward for you?
So, at the current moment, the company is well capitalized for coming 2 to 3 years.
Right.
And I think by that mark, we would also turn profitable.
Okay.
So I don't see there is a need to raise capital. But again, I think depends on what kind of growth opportunities we discover, and maybe if we feel to invest in them, then we can raise.
Okay.
But at the moment, we feel pretty confident we will turn profitable before we run out of money.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.